Good morning, Rick in Shreveport.
Good morning, Mark, in New York City. And hello, everybody. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, welcome to the side. See, I started to say sideshow. It's the side dish.
You've had too much American Horror Story.
I've been too excited this morning, which, my brain is like, wow, I'm flabbergasted, which I wanted to talk about whenever we're ready.
I'm all ready. Let's share the news, Mark. It was an email I got this morning from you that kind of told me about it.
Big deal. And I'm telling you, my hands were shaking, and I was like, I thought I was going to cry
That's
because,
your Miss America.
well, I work really hard. The mysteries, the publishing. At the end of this year, I will have published 6 books written for. But one of the books that just came out was the collection of LGBTQ, because I'm okay with the Q now, writers over 50. It came out of LGBT Senior, and my friend Steve Dolansky out in Los Angeles, he puts out rainbowgray.com, and we were talking about 9 months ago. And I said, what if we put out a collection of writers over 50? Because you don't see that. And we are alive. We are creating. Patricia Now Warren, who wrote the foreword, by the way, she's. I don't want to say she's pushing 80 because I could be wrong, and I don't want to be wrong about that. But she's been her novel, The Front Runner, saved me when I was a gay teen because
Hmm.
I knew that there were other. Oh my God, there's gay people out there. So, anyways, the collection. I'm going to hold it up now. Our
Yay.
listener, the podcast listeners on Blueberry and iTunes aren't going to see it, but it's called Outer Voices, Inner Lives, a collection of LGBTQ writers over 50, edited by Mark McNeese, that's me, and Stephen Dolansky. Anyways, I'm taking too long. I went on to Amazon. The ebook version will be up in about a week. I decided to use CreateSpace to do the ebook this time. I've always done my own before, but I wanted it to look like the paperback interior, so they did it. They're doing it, and it takes longer. It'd be up already. I could do it. I could do it in about a half an hour, but I wanted them to do it so it would look fabulous. And I looked on there this morning, and guess what? We are an Amazon editor's pick as one of 2014 best books. Is that not fucking awesome?
That's awesome. Congratulations to all your writers. I know it's a great collection. That's awesome. Amazon, Mark. I was telling you before when we were in the green room before the show. That's Amazon. They're the
Yes,
number one book dealer. Look at you.
yes. And since I used the F word, I now have to mark this as explicit.
Oh, I'm going to use the semen word in a little bit, but let's
Okay,
not go there yet.
okay. Anyways,
Congratulations, though, for
yeah,
real. And
that's
people can get it online, right? It's available or not quite yet? I
no, it's on
forget.
Amazon. You can get the paperback. It's 9.86. It's all the paperback's up there. I'm obsessing now, going, oh, I wish because the ebook's going to be 4.99. But the thing, I got to be patient. I've been patient for 9 months. I almost stopped doing. I almost gave up. I almost said I just don't want to do this. But I'm so glad I did now, and I'm absolutely thrilled. And that's it.
The name of it one more time so people remember.
Outer Voices, Inner Lives.
Because for me, it's all about my outer voice and my inner life. What's up, Mark? That's awesome. Here's to our coffee. Hey, today I put a little pumpkin spice in. You don't have to give the big dollars to those coffee people out there. Just buy one of these on the shelf, throw it in your coffee with some cream. You got pumpkin latte.
But I thought you were having tea. Is that
Oh, I
coffee or
know.
tea?
I was, but today was a special treat because you're Amazon Book of the Year for real.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy. Because I thought for a minute there, you're going to be like those people that call themselves vegetarians, but they eat fish.
That's
You're not a
Rick.
vegetarian if you eat fish, and
You're a
so
pescatarian.
I don't drink. I don't drink coffee. It's like I don't smoke, just like one now and then.
Like there's anything wrong with it. No, I switched to teas and I'm loving it. I drink that actually we'll talk about it another time, but it's called Cascara that I talked about it last time. Yeah, you know. Anyway, I was just excited because on November 16th or 17th, I think it is. Did you see this whole thing with Starbucks? They announced they're not bringing back the eggnog latte.
No, I
People
didn't
had a
see that.
fit, and now they're bringing it back November 16th. But I wanted to tell you real quick in your state, you got a couple big things going on in your state. Up in Harlem, or in your city, actually, up in Harlem, they have this Minister Manning from what's the church, Atlaw. Have you heard of this church?
I think you're talking about the church that puts up these really wicked, evil billboards about homosexuals.
Awful. Well, this week he got all upset about the story you and I shared last week about Starbucks coming out with the first. They had the stars of RuPaul's show come on, so it was the first ad that used drag queens, and so he started telling people that Starbucks is the source of Ebola and look out because they're putting sodomite semen in all their lattes to get the flavor that they're
Oh
getting.
my God.
So a bunch of people went out to protest, and they're handing out free Starbucks in front of the church. And that one woman, her name is, I think she's a transgender woman named Jennifer Lopez or Jennifer Lawrence, or
She could
It's either
be.
Lopez or Lawrence. Honestly, she's got the same name as his star. She's the one that made history when they said that they were going to stone all homosexuals, and she
Yes.
showed up and knocked on their door and said, "Come to stone me." Remember?
Yes, I do remember.
Anyway, the other big story, of course, you saw Loretta Lynch from Brooklyn will probably be our first black American attorney general, black woman.
Yes. Yes, that's great. And hopefully because of the filibuster change they made, I think he can get her in there before the Republicans take over.
That's the scary part. I mean, the confirmation would be scary. Go ahead, Mark. You've got a political thing you want to start with, and it's really worthy.
Well, it's interesting because now the bell is lingering. Um, well, there's two big stories this week, and well, of course the midterms, but I refuse to get depressed about it. I'm not going to allow political, movement and what's going on there in the political world to make me depressed. I had friends on Facebook who were like depressed after the
Oh, I
midterms,
know.
and Brittany Maynard. That was the other really powerful thing last week for me was Brittany Maynard ended her life, and I support that decision, but it really put things in perspective for me, like what matters, what is really truly important. And yes, I would like to see a democratic Congress. I would like to see this country function again and not be an empire in almost on its knees. But but the elections, in the scheme of things, when I'm looking at the end of my life, if I'm aware that it's coming, and even if I'm not going to be thinking about who won these goddamn midterm elections, and I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm going to move on with my life and have, live to the fullest. But so you got the midterms, and then you got the marriage thing. The Sixth Circuit federal court, 2-1, upheld the marriage bans in Michigan, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and another state. But anyways, it's got to be resolved by the Supreme Court. They have no choice now but to resolve it. I don't trust that they will come down on our side. I just don't trust that. They might leave it up to the states, which is going to create havoc because all of these bans have been overturned. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's a big story for me.
Yeah, and then on the positive side, you had Missouri and Kansas come through, so it's 34 states plus a district. But you're right; it has to be decided sometime or another. It's just all the time in the timing, and then of course the opportunity for them to overthrow the ACA subsidies. That's a big concern.
That's a huge deal, and it's good because we're sort of molding our topics here into one because it's such a big political week, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. But that's the other thing. It's like, are they really going to basically destroy the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, 3 years after Roberts cited to uphold it? Because it's going to throw, if it's about the subsidies, if people don't know, they rushed this law through. I think they made a lot of mistakes when they did this law.
Right.
But I support the law. But there's these 4 words that can be construed to mean that this federal subsidies can only go to states that set up exchanges. And of course, then the right wing think tanks immediately said, "Don't set up the exchange. We'll challenge it on that." And that's
36 states.
That's exactly what they did. But if the Supreme Court says, okay, that's the letter of the law, then all of these people who have gotten Medicaid and expansion, and gotten subsidies for Obamacare are going to lose them. And
because the subsidies will drop out.
Right. What's that? What's going to happen? I mean, it's a really big thing.
Well, and why it's hard is because you've got these, a lot of the stories that I read come from people that are only 26 years old that under the new ACA went under their parents, and in non-subsidy or in states that could be affected by this law started chronic treatment for chronic care treatment for drugs that may not be available or will not be available to them or affordable to them once this falls out. But they made the choice and felt secure living in a country where they were supported by these subsidies and they were told they were safe to start these treatments. So, yeah, it's scary, scary time. I won't ring the bell. I'll move right into our next subject because this week could be a big week. One of my hot buttons, and even when I tell people living here in our states, they don't realize this is the case. But when the blood mobile pulls up at work or wherever, and they're like, "Come on, Rick, let's go give blood," I can't give blood because I'm a homosexual. And that's how the law is written. Not homosexuality, but it's called MSM. And the ruling there is that men that have sex with men cannot give blood. It doesn't matter when you had sex with a man, but if you ever had sex with a man, you can't give blood. This guy named Ryan James Yezek, actually, Mark, I just came upon his story. He started a thing called the National Gay Blood Drive. Have you heard of it?
You're shaking your knee. Your
Yeah, my
picture's
knee's
going.
getting
Yeah,
excited
something.
about
Yeah,
this. Have
yeah.
you
Be
heard of the
careful.
National Gay Blood Drive?
No.
Started 2 years ago. They had it again in July. Basically, what you do is you go and you get your HIV test. You show up at a screening, the screening for a blood drive with a friend that's not MSM, and you say, okay, my friend's going to give blood on my behalf, even though I'm totally clear. But the ruling is going to come. There was a study down from UCLA that came out and effectively is telling the CDC and the FDA that it's okay. Let's give a chance for people who have tested negative and have said that they haven't had sex with one for 1 year. So I know it's kind of a stretch, but even allowing men who identify as gay who haven't had sex for a year with another man to give blood will bring over 615,000 new pints to the program, and it will stop discrimination. That's what I think it's about. He's been doing this blood drive. They did it in 63 cities this year. It's drawn awareness. What's interesting to me is the American Red Cross and I think they're called the American Blood Centers. They all came out in a statement in July and said that it is time to get rid of the ban. So finally, it's in the hands of the government, and we'll see what happens. But that meeting, I guess, is this Thursday. They say 1.8 million new lives could be saved just by making this a difference.
Well,
Someone needs new blood, Mark.
it
Every
is
3 seconds.
ridiculous. And what if you're somebody who's been in a monogamous relationship for any amount of time, and you're HIV negative? Why in the hell can't you give blood? I mean, how am I going to suddenly become positive when I have not had sex with anybody but Frank for 8 years?
I agree. This is kind of, I guess, like the first step of don't ask, don't tell. It's like, okay, well, let's get people in this way, hopefully alleviate it. They did, Germany's looking into it. South Africa, which has many risk factors, being an African nation, they obliterated it, I think, a year or two ago. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Some changes on the horizon.
Lots of them. Those were my topics. We could
Oh, well, I have
actually.
one more. Speaking of Germany,
Okay. Oh,
well,
yes. Go ahead.
well, you know the story. 25 years ago it happened.
Today.
Today. 25 years ago, the Berlin Wall came down. I think they're doing a 9-mile stretch of balloons today to celebrate it. Ich bin ein Berliner, having family from Berlin, I remember the moment. I remember it vividly. I was 15 or 25 or something. One or the other. All right, admittedly, I was 25, so I should remember the story. But the wall came down, which, you're reading all these stories, and the sad thing is I could go there, and I could be tactful and talk about the wall that's gone up between first world country USA and third world country Mexico that's being built every day down in Texas. I won't go there to think that we have a wall. Ridiculous. But I'm going to go to the positive. This is the week that tenants started moving into the World Trade Center. World Trade Center 1. 175 employees with a 3,400. Condé Nast is moving in there, Mark. And Aventur's moved our office in there. Vogue's going to be in there. Big stuff happening.
Well, yeah, but I mean, who wants to bomb Anna Wintour?
Who wants to mess with what was the movie called?
The Devil Wears Prada. Is it Vinter or Winter?
I say Winter because I'm in a German kick right now.
You're in a German mood.
But it's interesting. I only bring it up because it shows, this happened, kind of it's a moment in history. 55% of the building is now sold or leased. They say the profile is different down there, Mark. I haven't been down there, but they say the Wall Street thing is kind of left, and it's now high-end stores. Media is moving down there, and the profile of that whole World Trade Center area is changing. So
it's interesting because I never go downtown.
I don't either. There's a Tiffany down there. There's a Saks down there, I think. There's actually, if you haven't had a chance, just one quick thing. There's a company called Daily Motion that put out this 24-second video that shows the construction of the World Trade Center in 24 seconds.
Wow.
Pretty neat.
The new one or the old one?
The new one.
Oh, okay. It's the Freedom Tower, whatever.
And there's also a really cool documentary out that I think it got released in May when they opened the Memorial Garden. I think it's called 16 or 18 acres. Look it up on Netflix. It talks about all the challenges of rebuilding it. You remember those stories about what are we going to put in there? What aren't we going to put in there? Yeah. Nonetheless, in spring of next year, Mark, I'll be visiting you because the 100-second story deck opens up.
I'll be sure to be here. Maybe we can go together.
Yeah,
I would like to see the museum. Frank doesn't want to see the museum.
I'll go with you if we can cross the street and see each other. Unlike last time when the parade blocked our visitation.
Yeah. Not the gay parade either. It was the Columbus Day parade.
No, it wasn't, Mark.
It
Oh,
was
what?
Columbus Day.
I was singing to St. Patrick's Day. Hey, you're the award winner here. I'll just shut up. I haven't won an award in a while. Give me something to
Oh,
beat. Congratulations. Check out the book, guys.
you're a star no matter what. So, as we close out, I just want to say congratulations
Myself.
to you, to Reverend Pat Baumgardner. I'm going to see her this morning at 11. It's the 28th anniversary of her ordination.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's been the pastor at Metropolitan Community Church of New York for a long time, and she married Frank and I. So I'm really, really happy, and luckily we're in the city this weekend, so I'm going to go to church, give a big hug to Reverend Pat, who's always been a role model for me.
And if you want to hear more about Pat, go on to lgbtsr.org because I think you have the podcast up this
I
week of our interview.
reposted the podcast that you and I did, Age to Perfection.
She's fantastic. Tell her happy ordination.
I will, and it's just been a great Sunday. Oh
It
my
has.
God, I told him when we recorded it. Oh well.
Well, Sundays every day. Oh my God, I don't think they really care.
No, they
Thank you all
don't
for
care.
listening in. Let us know if you like us or don't like us by emailing us at
thesideDish@outlook.com.
thesideDish@outlook.com. And congratulations, Mark. Check out Mark's collection with Steven, Amazon.com.
And we'll be back next week with even more stuff.
All right.
Bye.
See you at the Trade Center.
Okay.
Bye.